What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Real Reds Talk, an authentic football fan channel made in Manchester. And that is correct. The 12 o'clock shows are back for the meantime. I'm not going to dive into all that and why they are back for now and why they'll be back to 2 shows a day, which is great news for people who watch and the viewers and the members and stuff. I'm not going to dive into it, but they are back for now. And as always, we have some breaking news surrounding Manchester United. And the first one, obviously, which you've probably already seen from the graphic anyway, is the fact that Fulham have placed a second bid for Scott McTominay. So initially they had placed a £17 million bid, which got rejected, and then they've gone in again this morning and they've put in, according to Samuel Lucas and a couple of others, a new bid which is worth 20 million. So we'll dive into kind of the intricate details of that and how we feel about the money that's being offered. We're going to talk about Lenny Yoro's developments because it's even worse than we first initially thought. I went live last night discussing this. And, the rumours from inside United and a couple of other kind of credible people were saying 4 to 6 weeks, but actually looks like 12 weeks now. Could be up to 3 months that he misses, which is hugely significant and nearly double the time that we was talking about. There's been some links to Ivan Toney, which I really want to get into. Erik Ten has put him on the list. And then, again, with the injuries that Rasmus Hojlund's got, he's out for longer than we initially thought. We thought it was a couple of weeks, maybe misses a couple of games on the tour. Could be up to 6 weeks that Rasmus Hojlund misses with a hamstring tear, I believe. So then you're effectively starting the new season without a striker, really. You got Xerxes in there, but he's not even played with the squad yet. So you're asking a lot there from a player who's literally not integrated with the squad whatsoever. And we're also going to do a review of the Real Betis game because obviously it was on it last night at 3 in the morning. So I didn't really have a chance to watch it last night because I was asleep. But now I've had a chance to watch the highlights and stuff. And I've had time today, which wasn't expected. But I've had time and I've managed to watch the game. So I'm going to give my thoughts, feelings on individuals, how we played as a collective, what the worries are, even more injury concerns coming out from last night's game as well. So you just sat there like, oh my God, this has been a disaster in terms of injuries for United on tour. So yeah, not started the way we wanted, but we'll get into that towards the end. Definitely want to discuss the Real Betis game, but let's talk about this McTominay bid for now, if we can. We'll stick with this. And everyone in the chat, big up yourselves. I'll read out some comments straight off the bat. If Forest have bought Elliot Anderson from Newcastle for 41 million, then McTominay is definitely worth more than 35, says Dan Errington. McMillan says, Saint Nick bringing us some early Christmas presents now. Well, I'm glad you're happy, man. That's the main thing. Sean saying absolute bare minimum should be 30, but I don't see any reason why we shouldn't expect more considering what other clubs get for relatively unknown experienced players. Seems like everyone's singing from the same hymn sheet today. Let us know your thoughts on TikTok as well about this McTominay bid. And everyone else saying morning, Nick. I hope you well. As long as everyone's happy, that's the main thing. But yeah, so let me read you guys out the news that's come out, and then we'll give our opinions on it and get into the details. So Fulham have made a second bid worth £20 million for Scott McTominay, with Fenerbahce and Galatasaray also interested. Everton are also admirers of McTominay, but are unlikely to be able to afford the player. Fulham's new bid worth in excess of £20 million for McTominay is expected to be rejected. United would be open to selling him, but it has to be closer to the £30 million mark. And I, like many of you guys, thank you for the gift, by the way, recruitment. Appreciate that, brother or sister, whichever kind of gender you are, regardless. Really appreciate that. Thank you. But yeah, I think we all, like I said at the start of the show, are singing from the same hymn sheet on this one. It's got to be 30 million. Even with a year left, there's so many comparisons that you can make in the Premier League where players have gone for way more and they're not even as talented as Scott. Now, Scott is limited in a certain sense. He's not a midfielder who's going to open up the game or dictate the tempo, dribble past a few players. He's not that kind of guy, really. He's more of an athletic, work hard, can crash the box, get a goal. Like, he's respected in a certain way, and obviously the goals that he scored for us last season were significant, scoring 10 goals. So if you're replacing that, what's that going to cost us? Because that's my main concern with this, right? If they get, let's say 30 mil, let's say 30 mil for McTominay, are they then going to use that to balance the books, or are they going to reinvest that in a player? I know we've had some news today coming from, I can't remember who the outlet was, but we had news regarding that Uarte, I think it was L'Equipe, the French outlet, that, PSG are open to a loan for him. So that's the route that they might take. But then I don't want him getting this £30 million for McTominay and then just using it to balance the books. That you're going to have to replace that. He's still good, regardless of what anyone says about him as a player, whatever it is. He is still a credible player to have in a squad and to bring off the bench, and we've seen that millions of times last season. So I think we definitely get 30 million, but then we have to go get another midfielder with that. Because, if we're being quite frank and quite blunt, Christian Eriksen, he can't, as a sub, again, he's okay last 10, 15 minutes if you need a little bit of creativity, but he's not going to run games for you, is he? He's not going to start games. And we've only got Casemiro as our only 6 at the minute, and then you've got Bruno, Mount, and Kobe you can rotate in the 10 and 8 position. But I still think we need a decent option off the bench. Even like, let's say, for example, how much did City pay for Kovacic? 30 mil, right? If you could bring a player of that quality in to be on the bench and play his role, and he's happy to do that, then that is what we need to do. And it's obvious interest in McTominay. I've just mentioned 3 or 4 teams there: Fulham, Galatasaray, Everton, and there's a couple others as well. So if there's interest there, you can generate, and you should be able to push that price up close to it. I personally would probably accept 25 mil. So if you can get Fulham to push it up a little bit more, or put some add-ons in there, or whatever way you want to go about it, I think you should be at least bare minimum getting 25 mil for Scott McTominay. Are you looking at a lot of our players at the minute? And sorry if I'm rambling, by the way, but looking at a lot of our players at the minute, and a lot of them are going for very, very cheap when we spent quite a lot for him. McTominay is different because he's an academy prospect. We didn't pay shit for him. We just invested money in terms of his growth, which will be nowhere near in comparison to what we sell him for. So McTominay is isolated. He's different. Same thing with Greenwood when we sold him, but obviously that's a completely different situation in itself. But Wan-Bissaka, for example, bought for 50 million. West Ham are like unwilling to pay 15 million for him, and he's got a year left on his contract. Victor Lindelof, I think we spent 30 odd million on him. Under Jose Mourinho, we're probably going to get about £8 million for him. If we was to sell Harry Maguire today, he's probably worth about 30 million, similar to McTominay, right? Paid 80 million for him. If we sell Anthony today, how much would he be worth? 20, 25? You'd probably be looking to get that the way he's playing. And we bought him for 80, 90 million. So, and same Sancho, half price. Bought him for 70. He's gone down to 40. So you're losing out on a lot of money there. And maybe Ineos are looking at this as kind of like a cultural reset and a financial reset, and just says, look, we need to move certain players off the books. We need to bring certain players in. This has to be done. So maybe you accept a little bit less and you allow that kind of leeway. But I'm telling you now, 17 million, the offer that even Galatasaray put in for him was just a fucking joke, in my opinion. I think, was it like 12 mil? Half of what we're asking for. Like, when we've publicly rejected a £17 million bid, and you see these kind of bids coming in, you're like, are you taking the piss? What do you mean 13 million quid? That's less than what we paid for Dan James. Smoking some strong substances, these Turkish people, let me tell you. Tony, Jesus Christ, not Betfred, man. James Greaves says, sell Manu for 10 to 15. Oh, shut up. I'm not even reading that. So you let people come in and talk with you. I don't know if you're on about me personally, but yeah, I'm always open to a chat. So yeah, comment whatever you want, as long as it's not absolutely ridiculous. What we're seeing in the YouTube seems to be some more sensible people in the YouTube. Quite a lot of comments. Make sure you smash that like button, by the way, if you can. Appreciate every single one of you guys. His wages aren't massive either, like 60k. We should be able to get a good fee, depends on how long his contract. Even if we only get 25 to 30, at least it's pure profit. Bang on, Sean, as always. My Damn United, be nice to keep the ins and outs flowing. 23 million is low. Maybe with some more achievable add-ons, taking it to 30, 35. Afternoon, buddy. I'm hungover. Stayed up to watch the match. Well, hopefully, I'm going to discuss that towards the end, Richard, so we can discuss that together. Didn't they just have their pants pulled down with that Arsenal reverse? McTominay's miles better than him. Oh, Emile Smith-Rowe, you're on about. Yeah, I get it. That's what I'm saying. We're talking about a certain level of talent here. And he's worth 30 mil. I think everyone's in unison about that. Everyone agrees with that. Sweet. Who would be your perfect 6-month loan for a striker if we can get one? hold that thought. I will reply to that. I'm going to talk about Toney in a minute, so that kind of falls in with that. I'll discuss that and give my thoughts on the striker situation very, very shortly, I promise. McTominay is a midfielder that always puts a shift in. Will never not be the best player, but always puts a shift. Not all United players do that. And that's why coaches love him. He's not a teacher's pet, or a coach's pet. But every coach that's played with him has always stuck him in there. Mourinho loved him. Ole loved him. Ten Hag loves him. Coach is just... everyone loves him. And it's because he grafts, he works hard, he has a certain attitude that coaches love and they desire. Afternoon, Nick. Hope you're well. Good afternoon to you, Brian. So many comments. Lovely to see so many people in. Dramatic Avocado, whose name I've not seen for a hot minute. Good afternoon, all. Hope you're well, mate. A lot of members in the chat as well, which is always nice to see. We're proper lowballed by everyone. It's mad. Yep. 25 mil with 10 add-ons. The Smith Rowe went for 34. Yeah, 30 mil for Scott would be a decent deal, says Brian as well. So hopefully, of course, if we have any further updates on the McTominay situation, if a third bid goes in or another team comes in, which could be likely, then I will certainly discuss that and I'll go live. But I want to move it on to Lenny Yoro. You know, I discussed it last night, so I'm not going to go into too much depth, but obviously we've had further reports come out with the game being last night, and more journalists are starting to get the crack of what's going on with him as a player. Romano put something out. Sorry. Romano put something out earlier this morning, which I thought was interesting. He said, reports of other clubs pulling out of the race to sign Lenny Yoro because of his physical condition of the player are false. All the clubs wanting to sign Yoro, PSG, Liverpool, and Real Madrid all wanted to sign him. So all you Liverpool fans and Madrid fans and PSG fans, when we've said we've got a player that all you guys wanted, and he was like, oh, we were never interested in, we didn't even like Yoro, we was looking at someone else. You're like, yeah, of course you were, mate. Romano's just reported it there, so he's, you know, not one to chat shit. Man United are not worried about Lenny Yoro's long-term fitness. He's been unlucky with his injury. His medical tests were perfect. So it's a freak accident. Happened to Lisandro. I think it's a fractured metatarsal. So it's, like I said, similar to what Lisandro did, I think, in Sevilla. I don't think it's the same bone, but it's similar injury. I think Rooney did his at one point. I think Beckham did his at one point as well. So, yeah, it's going to be around 3 months that he's going to be out for, depending on how he reacts and how his physiotherapy goes. But 3 months, that's a big blow, that, innit? For a player you've just signed, a centre-back, you've signed for 50 million quid, basically. Very young, talented. That is worst-case scenario, innit? That he comes in and he picks up a big injury like that. Well, you could always have worse. You know, he could always be, you know, a 6 month or a season, you know, he tears his ACL, and so it could always be worse. But to be out for 3 months, you're like, Jesus. Especially when you look at our centre-back situation at the moment. I mean, I've mentioned this so many times, I'm starting to sound like a broken record or a parrot, but we need to push this deal right now. I'll talk about the Betis game at the end, but we are still so sloppy defensively. And I personally, I don't want to start a season with Maguire and Evans as your centre-back pairing. I don't know when Lisandro's going to come back and train with the squad. I don't know how fit he's going to be, what level he's at. So I don't know when, you know, we play City next Saturday in the Community Shield, and then we kick it off next Friday in 2 weeks' time against Fulham. We kick the Premier League off. So you look at the back five, and you're like, yeah, Dalot, Onana, that's fine. But who are the rest going to be? You know, it's like you guys fill in the blanks. Who do we think the back five is going to be for the starting game? Let's do that, actually. I do a poll on it, but I put a poll up earlier before about McTominay, so I can't put another one up, I don't think. But yeah, there's a question for you guys, and I'll read them out. Who do you think is going to be the starting back five for the game against City? Talk to us. Chris is saying, I'd sign Hummels on a year contract free. Wow, that is a big shout. I don't even know how old Hummels is. I know he was very impressive in the Champions League. Him and Schlotterbeck last season looked really good. But Hummels to United now, I mean, you think Maguire's slow, fucking hell. Hummels is slow. And if you want to play a high line with Hummels in the back, nah. But defensively, yeah, he's bang on. He's very, very good. I do agree with that. But I don't think United will go absolutely anywhere near that. I think it's heartbreaking for Lenny Yoro, to be honest. He'll be absolutely devastated. You know, he's still only young as well. He's just made his, I'd say, a dream move, but we know his dream was Real Madrid, really. But it's still a massive dream move, playing for Manchester United, starting the pre-season. Things are going well. He's looking good. He's looking confident, strong, good in the air, good on the ball. We've seen some nice switches of play. He made a mistake, but then obviously recovery speed got him out of that, and he did well. So, yeah, I thought it was exciting, and that's one of the players I was really looking forward to see perform in the Premier League and how he handles it and how he adapts. And then an injury like that happens, you're like, oh. But then it gets me thinking about last season. I think we all remember when Kobe Mainoo got injured against Madrid, wasn't it? Just before the Arsenal game or after the Arsenal game? Yeah, it was after the Arsenal game because he was basically Declan Rice's dad in that. But yeah, got a big injury and then didn't come back till November. But then look at the season that he had, and you're like, I'm trying to think about the grass is greener and it'll be okay, it'll be fine. But we need to bring in a centre back. We need to bring it's no two ways about it. It's not even a question in my mind. That needs to happen. So hopefully they're working on that deal and they can get it done as quick as possible. Thank you for the follows, everyone. Shaw and Dallow, obviously, but probably Maguire, Amas, possibly till we have Euro. Yeah, Shaw centre back certainly an option, but then if you want to play Lissandro, I don't think you can play Lissandro and Shaw at centre back. It's very left-footed players. I don't personally see Lissandro starting alongside him. But Amas, I think, yeah. But again, I'll discuss him in the Betis review, sorry. Rude would still bang 20 goals for us if he had to. Well, the option's there, innit? Player manager, could you imagine? Hilarious, as if broken bones are anything to do with being injury-prone. It's crazy, innit? You see all these reports. Oh, they've signed an injury-prone player. It's like, oh, shut up. What are you on about? Finally got some free time to jump into the live stream. Random guy, hello. Loving the show so far. Thank you, mate. Appreciate it. I appreciate every single one of you. All who's in the chat. I'm very appreciative. Scouse accent was decent, but when you said Euro, I almost switched to Brummie. I could do Brummie as well. No, Thomas Shelby. No fighting. No fighting. No fucking fighting. There you go. There's your Brummie for you. I just hope to make sure he stays out for 3 months and don't rush him back, or we'll have another Leacher situation. Fingers crossed, Brian. Now, that's the worst case scenario. If he comes back and gets injured again, I don't even want to think about that. Matt Hummels now is slower than a slug on treacle. Would have loved him around the time we had LVG, though. The game from last night's on now. Scott is playing as a 9. I am going to watch I've only watched the highlights. I need to watch the full game, like the 20-minute highlights. But I do need to watch the full game. Chris saying I'd keep McTominay. He's good. Is Yapstam available, seeing as though we're Man Dutch United right now? That also would not surprise me. Just bring the full bring Louis van Gaal back. Why not? Still happy to have Bramflex for next decade if we can. Erik Ten picking Wan-Bissaka for the Betis game was terrifying. I just don't see Branthwaite happening at all. This really, really don't. And anyone who thinks because they signed that Jake O'Brien, it's got nothing to do with the Branthwaite thing. I think Godfrey's gone to Italy. I can't remember what team he's gone to, but he's been sold for like 10 mil. So that was like a like-for-like replacement. And yeah, Branthwaite, I don't think Branthwaite's going anywhere. I've been pretty consistent on that. Same thing with Casemiro. I don't think he's going to be sold to Saudi. But don't forget, we have got James from the Muppeteers on tonight, who's fantastic around news, around Ineos transfers and Manchester United. And of course, he's in America. He's from America. And I think he's been covering bits and bobs of the pre-season as well. So interested to get his thoughts on everything surrounding. It's just going to be me and James tonight from 7 o'clock. So make sure you come and join us. I'm really excited to see what the crack is and get some, little further details that you do get with James. So make sure you tune in for that one. Now, I mentioned to, I think it was Professor James, that I was going to talk about the striker situation and Ivan Toney. And this is coming from James Ducker in the Telegraph, who is always in the press conferences and he's a pretty good journalist, pretty reliable, I'd say. Erik Ten would like to sign another attacker after Hojlund's injury left Joshua Zirkzee as the only one. Ivan Toney is an option. Now, this is interesting, Ivan Toney, because this is a big move to make. If you're going to bring in someone of Ivan Toney's stature, who's, you'd go as far to say he's probably one of the best strikers in the league. I think that's fair to say, innit? You look at the top ones, Ollie Watkins, Erling Haaland, Ivan Toney. I think they're in the similar calibre, I'd probably suggest. So he's a decent player. Now, does Ivan Toney bring baggage with him? He could certainly put an acca on for the lads, I'll tell you that for free. But is there a bit of an attitude issue there? Is he a bit of... Would he be a bad egg? I don't know. There are some reports suggesting that. I don't follow Brentford nearly as enough as I do with quite a lot of teams in the Premier League. But I think there are a couple red flags with Toney. That's the only thing I'd say. Maybe amber flags. As a player, I think he's phenomenal. I think he deserves more minutes in the Euros. I think he can do both sides of the game really well. His link-up play is fantastic. He can hold it up. He can, drag defenders left, right, and centre. He's not slow either. He's really good in the air. Penalty record, phenomenal. So if you're just saying, if you isolate everything else, you just say Ivan Toney on his own as a striker, do you like him? Do you think he'd be good for United? I would say yes. But then, right, you have a minor issue. It's not an issue because you have competitiveness there. But so you've got Rasmus Hojlund, who you spent £70 million on, looked good in pre-season, did well given the circumstances last season, I think. Is working well under Ruud van Nistelrooy. You've already seen, he scored within 10 minutes of him playing against Arsenal. Now he's picked up the injury. If you bring someone in like an Ivan Toney, do you then stunt Hojlund's growth? Or is there enough games in the season with the expansion of the Europa League and the Champions League, FA Cup, Carabao Cup and the Premier League? Is there enough games to keep everyone happy? That's what would be my concern. Because let's be honest, they're not going to go to a two-striker system. I would very much doubt that under Erik Ten. Maybe for 1 or 2 games, if you want to tactically switch it up, he may do it. But I can't see him doing that system. So then I'm like, well, you just signed Joshua Zirkzee as well. Where is he going to fit in all of this? Is he going to rotate on the wings as a 10? Or is he going to be the striker if you want to set up differently? A lot of questions around it. So I'm not saying I wouldn't sign him, but I think you need to be careful with the harmony of the squad if you are going to bring in someone, and you have to be very sure. Oh, but obviously, Ten Hag's looking at it from a point of like, if we can get more quality in and more competition, fine. But I do worry slightly about the harmony again. But that's just my opinion. I want to know what you guys are saying. And yeah, look, My Damn United saying, hoping this Ducker story isn't likely. The new kid Obi Martin, as his Jamal moments, he only needs to cover minutes. So yeah, you got Hojlund, Zirkzee, and Chido Obi Martin, which that video is dropping tomorrow, by the way, for members. So if you want to know about this kid, what he's about, what type of striker he is, that video is dropping tomorrow for members early, 2-day access. So you guys will get that. Unpopular thought, but I think United will sell Ethan Wheatley, buy back and sell on option. I agree, UTFR. I don't think it's unpopular. I'd agree with that. Dan Errington saying I'd take a punt on Duran from Villa. I thought Duran's moved to West Ham, didn't he? Or did that move break down? I'm not sure. Wonder how much Toney put down with being mentioned as striker option today. I personally believe Ivan Toney's story is an advertisement for Brentford. No truth in it at all, says random guy. Punch Paint, Toney will want to start, but we should get him in. If I play for Brentford that long, I'd come with package too. Yeah, fair enough. Toney putting bets on his new club as we speak. Yeah, he's putting a bet on himself to move to United. Do we really need another striker when Hojlund is only out for 6 weeks, especially considering we need funds for other positions? Don't need another striker. 6 weeks is fuck all. Xerxes in and could also use Bruno as a false 9, even Sancho, if the melt stays. Sean always with being very descriptive. Yeah, to be fair, I forgot about that. We, towards the end of the season, Bruno playing as a false 9 actually worked, didn't it? And we got results. So, yeah. But then do you want to take him out of his position? But Mount's been really good in pre-season, hasn't he? So maybe that could work. Yeah, you make a good point there. You make a good point now. That's eased my concerns a little bit. As always, you guys, smart. You know exactly what you're talking about. You know ball. You rate Duran will open the Stretford end with Hungary like a wolf. What? You rate Duran will open the Stretford end with Hungary like a wolf? I didn't get that. Sorry, that flew right over my head if that was a pun or a joke. Apologies. Charlie saying, yeah, I reckon it might create a problem. I think so. I think the squad harmony would be affected because Ivan Toney starts for United, let's say. He does well, starts scoring. Hojlund comes back. You can already see the pundits already on Sky Sports, like Jamie Carragher, like, they spent £70 million on a fucking... They wouldn't say fucking, he wouldn't swear, but they spent 70 million quid on a Danish striker, and he's sat on the bench. You've got an £80 million winger in Anthony. You've got a £70 million winger in Sancho, and they're all sat on the bench. You can see it already, can't you? You know exactly what they would say that. He's got 300 quid's worth of talent on the bench, and these kind of questions and opinions get thrown about, and yeah, you already know the crack with it. I mean, the guy was quick to judge Lissandro before even seeing him play in the Premier League, so yeah. Where are you seeing the Ivan Toney? Ivan Toney's coming from James Ducker in the Telegraph, and Laurie Whitwell's reported it, so pretty reliable sources. How are you going to survive without Rashford, Hojlund, Euro out? Survive, I wouldn't use that specific word to describe this, because attackers-wise, I think you look at Ahmad last night. I mean, let's just talk about the Betis game because it falls into so many things. Ahmad last night, listen, we've said it together as a community and as a group on Real Reds Talk. He should be starting a lot more games. Now he's really, really showing that right-hand side should be his. And that left-hand side should be Garnacho's. Really. Rashford's looked relatively sharp in pre-season, so we don't know how Garnacho's going to come back. But there is no doubt, I've never been more confident about something, that he should be starting, Amad Diallo. So we've got Amad there, we've got Sancho, Antony, Rashford, Garnacho, Bruno could play as a false nine, Xerxes when he comes in. I'm not too worried about that forward line, to be honest. Amad, honestly, his games by numbers, listen to this. 100% tackles won. Ten Hag loves his wingers to have defensive work rate. 7 out of 10 duels won. 3 chances created. 2 out of 3 dribbles completed. 2 shots. 1 penalty won. And 1 goal, which he's taken very, very well, by the way. Also, Rashford went off injured last night. I'm not sure how significant that is. And so did Antony, apparently. So that's interesting in itself. I think Amad needs to start the season. 1,000,000% he needs to start the season. In relation to the performance last night, I thought first half we cooked. I thought Amad and Amas in particular were brilliant. Amad still has little things that he needs to work on in terms of his positioning, defensive awareness at times. Needs to bulk up a little bit, but I mean, the kid's only 17 or something. So, yeah, second half after the subs came in, typical pre-season performance dipped and it goes quiet and you get bored and you fall asleep. Well, I was already asleep during this time. I meant when I rewatched the highlights. Good going forward, defensively sloppy. That's the one worry. I think this could end up being a season if we continue to play like this, like Liverpool was before they had Alisson and Van Dijk. That's what it feels, where they score more than the other team. So we'll score 3-4 goals a game, but the opposition will score 2 or 3. That's how I can see it going, depending on who else we bring in, what midfielders and defensive players we bring in. Pressing structure was really, really good. I like how intense they are. I like how direct they are. How proactive they're being in moments. They're happy to sit in a low block sometimes. They're happy to really, go forth and attack it and press as a collective. So there's some good bits and there's some bad bits from pre-season that I think we need to work on. Ex-coach injury curse. Yeah, we are well. What did I refer to it, Richard, yesterday? The black spot, is it, from Treasure Island? We are the black spot. We are. We're just cursed. It's just... yeah, not great, is it? Ten Hag's comments after the game. What we want to achieve is to be very proactive and very aggressive. It doesn't matter if we are sometimes high or sometimes in a bit of a lower block. We have to be very aggressive. To get this, we need to start the press on certain points so we're all on one page. Then the intensity must convert to being with the ball, and we must do this as a team. And you can definitely see spells from this. And I think you can see... all the coaches are aligned. You can already see the work that Ruud's putting in is kind of rubbing off. Rene Hack, Darren Fletcher being down there as well as working with them. You've got everyone in unison, and that's the main thing, towards one objective, towards one kind of playing style, but with flexibility in there as well. And I think the players that we've signed have brought them options, so happy about that. I fell in love with Amad, no homo. Mate, I'm with you. Random guy. Antony injured apparently. Yeah. I've heard other things as well, though, but I think whether it's rumour or not, I don't know. Mount should have got the start instead of Eriksen versus Betis. We need to see that 7 on the pitch versus the Scousers. Agreed. Obi Martin not officially put pen to paper yet, and we sold him a quick pathway to minutes in the first team. Buying another senior forward now breaks that promise. He could say, sod this, I'm going to Dortmund. I think it'll be done. I think that deal will be done. I'm certainly hoping so, because I've done a full video on him, so if it doesn't, I'm going to look like an idiot. Amad reminds me a bit of Carlton from Fresh Prince. Yeah. Maybe you can start doing that celebration, because he got asked in the presser the other day, didn't he, what his celebration means, and he just said nothing. So maybe when he scores now, we can start doing the Carlton celebration from Fresh Prince, just start doing one of them. I'd be up for that. I don't know about you, that. Was Antony injured? Saw someone say Ten Hag shot him out for not doing something and got hooked. That's what I'm saying. I've heard reports as well. You're not the only one. Hi lads, how we doing? What have I missed? Basically the whole show. Dan, if you want to rewind it. Thank you everyone who's following us on TikTok. Please do subscribe to the channel as well. That would be amazing if you could do that. We're on 6,281 subs. So we're 19 subs of 6,300. So if there's anyone who enjoys football content, transfer talk, stories, footage outside the ground, members videos, etc., then subscribe to Real Reds Talk, you absolute fucking legends. Have you seen Steve McLaren on Cool Runnings? I have. Apparently him and Steve Bruce have been linked with the Jamaican job, haven't they? And as soon as that Steve Bruce thing got announced, that a meme got put out by, I don't know if it was like Odds Bible or something. There's the white Jamaican dude who does, some of you don't know who I'm alluding to. He does, he's like a rapper. Oh, I can't remember the guy's name. Some of you will know exactly who I'm on about. And it was like Steve Bruce when he introduces himself to the squad. I was like, oh, man. Social media is so quick, honestly. I get Will Smith look vibes more than Carlton. Okay, this is a debate I didn't think we'd have, but we'll go in there. Head into 10,000, hit the likes and subscribe. Thank you very much, Richard. Yeah, I want to try and achieve 10k by, I don't know if it's realistic or not, by Christmas. I think that's, you know, that's what's that? 3,800 subscribers, new subscribers by December. I think that's achievable. And we're going to push content more and more on this channel and try and get as much out there for you guys as we possibly can. Be back to 2 shows a day for now, at least. And then we'll see what happens. We were sloppy at the back, but we played Heaton on the high line. I think Onana would have had us looking more comfortable, but our pressing was mint. And Amas looks ready to start. Great left foot. Amas reminds me so much of Shaw, you know. There's so many similar comparisons. Young Harry did Amas to class down the left last night. Yeah, I'm happy with it. When do we play Liverpool, by the way? Let me double check that. I know it's like 3 or 4 days' time, isn't it? I think that's the last game of the tour matches. Yeah, the 4th of this. 4th of the 6th, 4th of the 8th. Sorry, what day is that? That's weekend, isn't it? Is it Saturday? Yeah, Saturday, Sunday, late 12:30. And then literally a week on from then, play Man City in the Community Shield, 3 o'clock kickoff. God knows who that starting lineup's going to be for that. No idea. Can you do a poll? Who does Ahmad look like more, Carlton or Will? I can do that for you. Of course I can. Are you live tonight at 7 so I don't miss it? We are live. It's Muppeteers. James from Muppeteers on tonight. So we're going to get all the details on transfers and injuries. More specifics than what we can give. So, yeah, we'll definitely be live tonight at 7. So make sure you come and join us. It's going to be a big show. Right, let's do this poll then. I did put a poll up initially at the start of the show. What's the bare minimum we should accept for McTominay? 35 million, 18% said that. 30 million, 44% said that. And 25 million, 38% said that. So relatively balanced. I think the majority, though, would say 25 plus, right? I think that's fair to say. Right, let's end this poll. Can I start a new one? Yes, I can. Yes, I can. Start a new poll. Right, here we go. This is what the real people want to know. This is why it's real Reds talk, because it's authentic. It's, you know. Who does Ahmad look like more? I never thought I'd be doing this poll, honestly. Will Smith or Carlton? From, just in case no one gets the reference, from Fresh Prince Bel-Air. Oh my god, I've absolutely butchered that. Bell space air, like Bel-Air. Oh, that's just horrible. Sunday, thank you very much, Chris. Thank you. Right, there we go. The poll's up, so go put it in. Informer, blah, 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 lick a bum, bum, that. Yeah, that's the one, Sean, I think. Jamaican guy you're thinking of is Snow. Song was Informer. Yes, that's the one I'm thinking about. I predict a shaky start to a season. Arsenal fans gloating, beating us, then saying it's pre-season, losing to the Scousers. Absolute bell ends. Arsenal fans doing what they want. Did you watch the game? Oh, yeah, sorry. People having a chat. Right, let's see. He looks like Uncle Phil, neither Will Smith or Carlton. The poll don't work. Does it not? Oh, fuck. Has it not worked? That's really annoying. Oh, yeah, it does. It's 5 vote. I've ended it already. Sorry, I messed that up. I've messed that up. Look, let's just leave it open to anyone's interpretation or opinion. I personally would go more towards Carlton, I think. I'd get Carlton vibes, but I see what he's saying. Again, it's a thing I didn't think we'd be discussing, but this is the fun of doing lives, right? Who do Maguire... what? Why do Man U keep buying expensive children who get injured? I mean, children's quite far, isn't it? 18 years old, is that a child? think someone's trying to annoy me there. Anyway, we will be back at 7 o'clock, like I said, with James from the Muppeteers. Massive show, always very informative. Some of you guys watch the shows anyway, so you'll know exactly what I'm on about. So make sure you do tune in for that. Smash a like on the video if you're watching this later on, or if you're watching this live right now. And yeah, I love you guys. Thank you very much. Love the community. Appreciate you tuning into lives every single day. The 12 o'clock shows are back for now, and we'll be back at 7. So I'll see you then, yeah? Legends. See you in a bit.